What's going on, guys? It's Picsoleated, and today I got something special for you guys. As you all know, the Virgil Abloh X Ikea collection just released recently, probably a few days ago, since I'm recording this on the day of, but probably uploaded it a few days later. So I actually started lining up at Ikea at 1 a.m. So what they were doing was at 6 a.m. they were going to hand out 300 wristbands to the first 300 people. You have to be an Ikea family member, whatever. There's a bunch of rules. The point was that I lined up at 1 a.m. around 1:30 a.m. actually, and I really didn't feel like filming. I was not in the mood, so I didn't do it. I've actually been up since then, and now it's about 2 p.m. I actually had work after the drop, and I still have work. I have a few more shoots to do, but I got a little footage once we got to go in. The doors open at 10 a.m. They actually didn't even give out the tickets at 6, even though that's what it said in the rules. They ended up giving it out at 8 a.m. So we had to wait out in the cold for quite a bit longer. I really didn't feel like filming. I filmed a little bit on my phone, so I'm gonna show that to you guys right now, and then after that you'll get to see if I ended up copying or not. Gotta get the Daybed. More items in stock than we expected, but I don't know if it's gonna sell out by the time we get to the end of the line. Duvet covers. So a little recap of what I just got. I got the Toolkit, got the duvet covers. You could only get 4 items, but the people I was with, they didn't get the full 4 items per person, so they helped me get the Toolkit and the clock. Alright, now you saw the footage. They only let you get 4 items, but I ended up getting a little more than 4 because I met a very sweet family. They didn't end up using all their items, so it's 4 items per person. There were 2 of them that could buy items, which means that in total they could have got 8 items, but they ended up getting only 6, and so they helped me get 2 other items, and there you have it. But that's not all. I actually bought the Daybed frame and I forgot to get the mattress, so I had to go back in and get the mattress, but I realized that the line was so short, so I lined up a second time, and then I ended up getting a few more goodies. It's back there somewhere. By the way, P was on a flight back from the Philippines, that's why she was not with me. Otherwise, she would definitely have been down to go, unless she had work, which she probably would have because it was a Friday morning. Alright, let's get to the review. Yep, so I'm home now. As you can tell, completely different outfit. It's actually a completely different day because honestly it was such a long camp out. I camped out for about 10 hours, then I had work right after, so I was up for almost the entire day. As soon as I came home I crashed. Obviously I was super tired, so we're just gonna go over most of the collection and the things I was able to get. I kind of wanted to review some things that I didn't get also, so we're just gonna review most of the collection. First of all, starting it off with obviously the Mona Lisa. This thing makes absolutely no sense to me. The backlit artwork Mona Lisa. I know Virgil Abloh put the Mona Lisa on like his sweatpants and maybe some other articles of clothing before in his off-white clothing line, but out of all the items in this collection, this one makes the least sense to me. It's really just a backlit Mona Lisa. You could probably find it on AliExpress or something for 20 bucks, maybe less. You know what? That's probably where they got it from. It's backlit. It can apparently charge your phone if you get the USB charger. It's $79.99 Canadian. Makes no sense to me. It was the most limited and was the first thing to sell out, obviously. I believe there were only 10 at the location that I was at. I could be wrong, there could have been a little more, but there was not a lot. But yeah, least valuable. I have no idea why this thing exists, why people bought it, I have no idea, other than the fact that it's limited. Oh yeah, don't mind the mess, I'm moving some stuff around, maybe you'll figure out why later. Alright, on to the next item. It's this toolkit right here. There were a lot of these in the store. Believe it or not, there isn't much that's unique about this toolkit. Ikea actually has their own toolkit that's this exact same toolkit, except the handles are black instead of red. And if you see this, it's a translucent red cover. If you open it up, you can see it's red. It says homework on it. So the only real difference between the one that Ikea already has versus this one is the color of the handles and the fact that it says homework on here, as well as the lid is a translucent red on this, whereas on that it's just a clear transparent lid. So there's a little bit of interest there, but I mean, it's $12.99. It's not too expensive, so that's good. But you can already see Virgil's concepts are already coming into play here, because when I first saw this kind of confused me a lot. It says homework on a toolbox, which makes no sense to me, because when you think of homework, you have your tools to do your homework, like, I don't know, your pencil, your eraser, your sharpener, your calculator. You think of the work you get from school to do at home, and that's your homework. But here you're getting tools to work on things in your home, so technically these are the tools you use for your homework. So I can see where Virgil was going with this, and I really respect that, because that means there's actual thought got into this collaboration. It's not just random words being put on a box or on items. This is a 17-piece toolkit. It's $12.99 Canadian, so it's not like they're charging ridiculous prices because it's a collab. It's relatively fair. Just know that the tools are fairly standard. There's no Virgil Abloh or Off-White branding on it. It's just the same tools you get in the regular box. Before I go on, the collection is known as Markerad or Markerad. Like, the actual pronunciation is like Markerad, but obviously that's difficult to pronounce. I don't think I can pronounce it. It's a Swedish word that actually translates to mark. So if you look at this quotation, for example, it's kind of like Virgil left his mark on this toolbox, you know? The name actually has a meaning too. So the next item I got is this duvet cover. It is the Markerad duvet cover. It's for a double bed or a queen bed. Retail price is $49.99 Canadian, nothing too ridiculous. It's pretty standard. It's a great cover. It seems like it's pretty good material. The key thing here is the signature Virgil Abloh design cue right here with the text, signature quotations with the textile. I'm assuming that's a city and country origin, which is something Sweden. Not gonna even attempt to pronounce that. 2019, which means it's probably made in 2019. That's where Virgil's signature branding comes out in this, and it's because it's gray, it's so versatile. It's like the most versatile color you could get. I got this for P. P wanted this. I'm gonna give this to her next time I see her. But yeah, for $49.99, can't go wrong. The next item that I got is this Markerad clock. This clock is part of the collection too. As you can see, it's all white. It's still in the packaging. I haven't opened it. I'm not gonna bother opening it right now because I don't know if I'm gonna keep this or what's going on with this guy. This one was especially popular too. I think this one sold out right after the Mona Lisa. People were taking multiple pieces. The limit was 4, but you could take 4 of whatever you wanted. So I saw people grabbing 2 or 3 of these. It's essentially a giant white round clock, and what's annoying about it is that the handles are all white too. So if you're really trying to look for time on this, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna have to put some effort in. And of course we have the signature Off-White hit. It says temporary in that Helvetica font that Virgil Abloh always uses, and it's got the quotation marks. It's kind of like an ironic play at time, I guess, because it says temporary, but really time is the only thing that's not temporary. It's essentially permanent. Once you lose time, it's gone. You're never gonna get it back. But I don't know if that's what he was going for. Maybe it just means like the moment you're in is temporary and it's constantly changing. Whatever it means, it's a cool clock, but I don't know if I'll even be able to tell time with this thing. We'll see. And it retailed for $29.99 Canadian, so not ridiculously pricey either. So far, everything's been pretty reasonably priced. Maybe the duvet cover was a little pricey, but not out of reach. Okay, so the next item is the one thing that I actually really lined up for. I told myself if all else fails, this is the only item I really went there for, but everything else was sort of a, let's say, icing on the cake. And thankfully, I was pretty early, so I got quite a few things, but let's just say what's amazing is that there was no hype behind it. People weren't really getting it, which I knew was the case because I already saw the other items in the collection and I knew people were gonna go for those. What I'm talking about is the Daybed frame, and obviously I'm not holding it in my hands because it's a big item, and it obviously came in a big cardboard box. Well, it was a long cardboard box. Anyways, the point is, here's a very, very, very short montage of me building it. Got the base frame set up, got the frame built. Time to put on the mattress. So this is gonna take 72 hours to inflate. Now the unique thing about the Daybed is that it's very low to the ground, and that's something I really wanted in a bed. It was time for me to switch it out. My regular bed took up so much space, and I didn't want to take up so much space because my room wasn't that big, and so the Daybed was sort of a solution for me. But also because it was low to the ground, that's exactly what I wanted. It came at the perfect time because I'm lining up for stuff. Why don't I just buy this thing? It was 220 Canadian US dollars. I don't know if Virgil's making any sort of artistic statement. It's sort of just a tribute to the Scandinavian design, as is most of the furniture in this collection. Now it's a single bed, and the name of the product is called Daybed frame, which kind of bothers me because I'm going to be sleeping on it. It's obviously not going to be a daybed for me, but I guess the idea is that this is sort of put in your living room for people to chill on, or that is something that could happen. You could chill on it, and if you have guests over, they could probably sleep on it and, you know, quick sleep, get out of here. But I think that just the design of it, the fact that it's low to the ground and it's so focused, it promotes sleeping productively. In other words, I know that sounds kind of contradictory, but the fact that you could just, you fall asleep on it, you get up, you do what you got to do. You don't just mosey around on it and do all kinds of lazy things like getting on YouTube or getting on, although if you want to get on YouTube, you should get on YouTube and subscribe to this channel because you're going to see a lot of cool stuff on this channel, trust me. The one thing I will say though is it does end up becoming a little more pricey, obviously, because it is a daybed. It's 220 Canadian dollars, but then you end up paying 150 Canadian dollars for the mattress. And on top of that, if you want to get the full package, you will end up buying the daybed cover, which is $129, which is pretty ridiculous for a cover if you think about it. But in fact, it comes with a big round pillow cushion thing too. So the title's a little misleading because it just says it's a daybed cover, but it comes with that round cushion. I'll put up a picture somewhere, but I did get that too, so it ended up costing me about like 223, around 490 to 500 bucks instead of 220 Canadian. But let me show you. Here's the daybed cover, the pillow cushion, the round cushion. You can see it right there. And this is all the covers around it. As you can see, it's got kind of like a beige color to it. It has a canvasy texture. I don't know if I could get that in there in the video, but got the signature Virgil Abloh inspired Ikea label with all the same happenings as you saw in the Duvet cover. So there's that. But just keep in mind, you don't have to get the mattress from Ikea. You don't have to get this daybed cover right here. It's kind of just, it's probably just an escalation of commitment on my part since I was already there and I was getting everything else. I ended up getting this too. If you want to make it cheaper, just get the daybed frame, get a mattress from somewhere else, get a different cover. Who needs this one? It's only if you want it. If you want it, I'll leave a link in the description. Alright, so the next item I got were these, the Ikea sculpture bags. Why do I call them sculpture bags? Because look at it, it says sculpture right on the bag. They're essentially shopping bags. This one is the 9-gallon bag. This one is the 21-gallon bag. It kind of doesn't look that much bigger when you have it right next to each other, but this is much bigger once you open it. Pretty much covering myself here at this point. Price of the 9-gallon bag is $14.99 Canadian, and the price of the large bag was $19.99 Canadian, so it's just a $5 difference. People will most likely think these are easily breakable because, well, they look like paper, but in reality it's actually a plasticized paper, which means it's a kind of a paper that's coated with like a plasticky coating. So in fact, these are pretty sturdy, and I guess I'm gonna try to rip it, but you can see it's not gonna rip easily. It won't really rip unless you overload it with something, or if the stitching comes off, because there is stitching all across the different pieces. Once you get it in hand, you realize the material isn't paper. It kind of feels like it, but you can because I did this, I realized, but you can feel that there's some sort of coating holding it together that makes it so much sturdier. It's got the Ikea hits on the handle. You see, you turn the handle up a little, you know? So the concept behind this bag right here, the fact that Virgil Abloh put the fact that Virgil Abloh put sculpture in quotation marks on the bag is sort of to challenge the viewer's perception about what really is the difference between a handbag and a piece of art, because sculpture is another name for like a physical piece of art. But what really bothered me about these bags is I realized that they're not all made equal, sadly. So when I looked at these big bags, I ended up getting one. Take a close look at this text, right? It's black, it's crisp, deep, rich, contrasty. This is the same bag. This is just the second one that I have. Check this out. A little faded. Looks like the font has been stretched or the print was running out. I guess it's harder to notice it on screen. If I put them side by side, you can kind of see the difference. And you can see it on the handle as well. This one's the better print. This one's already washed out. This one's the washed out print right there. You can see it's not even the same color at that point, which kind of sucks, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. Hopefully this thing doesn't wash off or something. But I wish I noticed this when I was buying the item. Either way, for the price, what it's worth, I think it'll outlast its value. Now, obviously you can use them as storage bags, but a lot of people will use them for art purposes. Maybe they'll put a potted plant in there. I saw a picture of someone doing that. All right, we're on to our final items. These items are definitely the ones that most, if not all of you, have probably been waiting for. I got the 2 rugs. I got the receipt rug. I got the wet grass rug. So, starting with the wet grass rug, as you can see, I haven't opened it up. I'm probably not going to open it up right now. You might see some B-roll. If not, I'm not going to open this up right now because, I mean, I don't have anywhere to put it yet, but also because it would have been difficult to show you guys on camera from here anyway. I'm sure you've seen photos online. If not, I'll post some up. Now, the wet grass rug is a high piled rug. It's all green. It's got white text on it in quotations, of course. It's got white text on it in quotations that says wet grass. A couple batteries died, but I think we're okay. If I look considerably more tired, it's because I had to wait an hour or so for this battery to finish charging. Alright, so yes, you saw the wet grass rug. It's a high piled rug, so it's really fuzzy. The rug itself is 4 feet 4 inches by 6 feet 5 inches, so it's not the biggest rug, but it is a relatively big size, and it retails for 229 Canadian dollars. Of course, it's not the cheapest rug, but it's also not the most expensive, 229. I do think it's a touch too steep, but if you want the rug, I'm sure you'd be willing to pay that. It is going for a little more in the aftermarket now, so you probably won't be able to pay that. You might have to pay a little bit more. Now, once again, being a Virgil Abloh item, there is some sort of concept to this, which you might not notice. Like, a lot of people probably saw the wet grass rug and they thought, this is silly. Why does it say wet grass on a rug? Just because it's green? That doesn't make sense. You gotta do better than that, Virgil. But the real concept is it's more of a playful disposition on the outdoors and indoors and outdoors. Like the wet grass is something you would only see outside. It's wet, it's grass. Aside from the branding aspect, it's in quotations to point out sort of the contrast between outdoors and indoors, because you'll always see the rug indoors, whereas you always see wet grass outside. So you see wet grass on a dry rug. It's constructed with the high pile, obviously, to sort of represent grass. You know, blades of grass are pretty high up, as opposed to being a low pile rug, which wouldn't look like grass at all. And finally, we've got the receipt rug. Once again, I'm not going to open this one, but you kind of have an idea right here. Look at this. You see all that text? That is the text of the receipt. Got the date, got whatever that is, whatever that is, whatever that is. Cashier number, so you can look up this cashier, let them know what's good. Oh, there it is, there it is. This is a much smaller rug, and it is a low pile rug, so it's not fuzzy like the other one. It's still soft. It's a rug. What do you expect? It's a little soft. This one retails for $99 Canadian. The concept behind this rug is a little more ambiguous. I'm sure a lot of people are just gonna look at it and say it's just a big IKEA receipt, and that's gonna be the shock factor for them, is that it's just giant IKEA receipt in rug form, and you can just place it on the floor. I mean, it's even designed like a receipt. It's got the flat top and the jagged edges as if they just ripped the receipt out of the machine. And it's a cool detail, but it goes a little deeper than that. As Virgil states, this rug represents the experience you have while shopping at IKEA. It's a trademark in and of itself that has been transformed into art, and apparently you can put it on the floor or you can hang it up on the wall. Either way works. I probably won't put it up on a wall unless I'm learning to wall run or something and want something comfortable under my feet. But if I'm being honest, I'm not too big of a fan of this rug right here. I'm more of a fan of the wet grass rug over there, but I do understand the concept, and I understand if people are interested in this. If you're a loyal IKEA shopper, this is something that needs to go somewhere in your house for sure. Whether it be the floor, the wall, you want to glue it onto the roof, just make sure it doesn't fall on anybody. Better be secure, fam. Better be secure. Now, there were a few other things I wanted to get, those other things being the chair and the mirror, but honestly, by the time I got done with everything, I just didn't want to buy anything else. I already bought enough. I also didn't want to deal with a giant mirror. I didn't know if it would fit in my car, first of all. Second of all, I didn't want to risk breaking it. I was so tired, and I didn't want to handle anything that requires too much care. For the wooden chair, I couldn't really justify spending 179 Canadian dollars on that wooden chair because it's a little small. There isn't much to it. Yeah, it's a cool concept, and it's a limited item that I probably won't be able to get again unless I buy it from the aftermarket. But once again, the price is just too high, and I justified enough high price purchases that day, so I was good to go. Overall, I really dig the collection. I think Virgil gets a lot of mixed reception in the industry and the pop culture community, from sneakerheads and artists alike. I'm not privy to that. Sometimes you can tell that Virgil, or whatever entities that he's working with, will just put quotations or the Crossroads logo from his off-white clothing or whatever they're selling just to get it to sell and to get hypebeasts to buy it. But when you see that there's thought put into a collection like this, you realize that Virgil does really care about the concepts and the stories that he pushes into the ethos of his brands. It takes quite a bit of effort to stay consistent with your brand visually, conceptually, and without overdoing it in the long term. Overall, this was a really thoughtful and cohesive collection in line. I kept looking through the items and trying to figure out which 4 items I want to get, because they limited it to you can only get 4 items once you're in there, and I kept thinking it's so difficult to pick just 4. And if it wasn't due to the external circumstances where the family I was next to was helpful enough, they didn't use up all 4 items per person, so they helped me get a few things, and the fact that when I went in to get the mattress, because I went in a second time to get the mattress because I didn't get the first time, and then I ended up lining up again because you didn't have to line up for the mattress, but because the line was ending, I decided to line up again, and I got a few other things. If it wasn't due to those circumstances, I most likely would have only got 4 items, and it would have been extremely difficult to pick those 4 items. And just based off of that, I knew that this collection was a pretty solid one. Either way, the aftermarket prices aren't too bad on some of these items. I'll leave links in the description if you want them. What do you guys think? Did Virgil prove himself in this collection, or do you think it's overrated? I'm just glad we didn't see quotations plastered over everything, just a few things. But that's it from me. Catch you later. Picsoleated has left his Markerad.